Hi! Welcome back to research. Okay, so let's get back to where we left off. We had just analyzed and figured out Ilanya, and now we are going to go back to our topic of colorism. Colorism. So, one of the first things that comes up when you search for colorism is Wikipedia. You have just done a bell ringer on Wikipedia where you've kind of read through information about what Wikipedia can do for you. Now, as you continue to take notes, let's think about how we could use Wikipedia in school and out of school. Wikipedia, if you notice, has pretty concise information about topics. You would be able to find generally any information that you would need that you could also find in an encyclopedia or a general reference book on Wikipedia. That means there's no new information on Wikipedia. But Wikipedia is good for light research and not for academic research. That's important to note whenever you're skimming through an article, that this is light research information, not academic or serious research information. Also remember, as you skim or scan through an article, meaning you read things quickly with your eyes, that's perfectly fine to do, but never quote directly from this text in Wikipedia. You cannot quote directly from this text because this does not actually come from any publication and then would be considered invalid information. So any of this throughout this entire website, this part, do not quote from it. You can scan and skim it and then look for the resources. Let me show you something really cool. Whenever you zoom in, and let's zoom in really big so that you can see this. Okay, this will help us. Whenever you zoom in on a Wikipedia article, you will see that there are resources linked to many of these statements. So let's look at the first statement. Colorism is discrimination based on skin color. It's a form of prejudice or discrimination in which human beings are treated differently based on the social meanings attached to skin color. Number one. So if we click on number one, it's going to show us that this is from Trina Jones, 2001, Shades of Brown, The Law of Skin Color, Duke Law Journal, issue 49, number 1487. It's available there. And we would click and open it up, and then we would be able to access it here. We could not use this because this is a paraphrase of something that was taken out of another article. So we cannot copy and paste this without it being completely false or plagiarized, because you cannot use Wikipedia itself as a source on your paper. You would have to go to the original article. So once again, you'd have to click in the original article, then download the paper, which as you see here, it's taking a second. Maybe it'll do it, maybe it won't. I didn't test this one out before, and it's not letting me. So for some of these, you'd have to pay for the paper because they're actually published and valid. But you see here, that's number one. Here's the number two. This is another thing to think about. You go to the very bottom of the article. So at the very bottom of every Wikipedia article, this has a lot of sources with it, so this is good. See the references section of a Wikipedia article. So if we zoom down, you'll see that every Wikipedia article is pretty much broken down in the same way. If you've seen any Wikipedia article, you'll know that here's the overview, here's the outline of what's going to happen. So here's Africa, Asia, Latin America, the United States, different types in the United States, globalization, see also references, further reading, and external links. So we're going to go down to the references section if I was doing this for research. So for academic or school-related research, it's better for you to start at the bottom of the page instead of the top. Also, if you're going to use one of these resources, and these are all the resources that came from up above, right? If you're going to use one of these resources, you need to Google it and then put it through the www.framework, just like we put the article about Elanya through the www.framework. Anything that you find down here in the depths of the Wikipedia article needs to be put through the www.framework. Also, as a reminder, by Thursday, May 8th, 2014, so that means next Thursday, ladies and gents, you will need to turn in 5 completed www.frameworks for your social issue. That means you have a required 3 sources that you must use in your paper, but you have to turn in 5, count them 5, www.frameworks. Great. Now, let's continue on to the next page. So everybody flip. We all flipped. Okay, first thing I need you to do is put an X through answer number 6. Put an X through answer number 6 because I accidentally put a blank in there when it should be titles and expertise. So put an X through number 6. At this time, we're going to watch a wonderful TED Ed video, and remember these answers will come in fast-paced, a little faster paced than the ones that I just explained to you here. Also, just so you know, when I did the general research, I saw in this Wikipedia article that they had talked about the bleaching of skin. I just wanted to show you briefly what the bleaching of skin looked like. This is Gabourey Sidibe. So here was her original skin tone color, and here's her several years later when she has been through Hollywood. So she has had her skin bleached and brightened. This is Sammy Sosa, a baseball player. This is what Sammy Sosa looked like 2005. This is what Sammy Sosa looked like in 2008. This is Nicki Minaj. Yes, the Nicki Minaj. This is her in high school, and this is her about a year ago. This is India Ari, famous, beautiful songstress. And this is her a couple of years ago. This is her currently. This is Lil' Kim. If you know Lil' Kim, she is a female rap artist. This is her several years ago, and this is her just a couple of weeks ago. So definite change, definite bleaching of the skin. Here is the effects when bleaching goes wrong. So here is a woman when bleaching goes wrong. This woman used to look like this. Now she looks like this when bleaching goes wrong. Finally, when bleaching goes very wrong, it's burned this woman's skin severely. So now that you've seen that, let's move on. But I just wanted to show you the effect of what colorism has on women of color today and how it can seriously injure someone because they feel pressure to lighten their skin. Isn't that insane? Okay. Now we're going to watch this wonderful TED Ed video. So make sure that you are pumped and ready and have your mind synced to the TED Ed because the answers go like lightning, I promise you. I love TED Ed.
Every day, we are bombarded on all platforms of media with personal stories that span the continuum from the embarrassing and the trivial to the dire and the critical. The foodie posting photos of every plate of lasagna he orders. The Iranian blogger describing the shooting death of Nida Aga Sultan. Authentic narrative is the glue that connects people, providing a compelling reason to keep reading. It makes the personal universal, transcends the individual, and makes a story timeless and humanistic. How, as a journalist, do you ask the questions that yield this type of narrative? You have to know what to ask of whom. First, you need to understand that every piece of journalism requires a trifecta of sourcing. If you picture the reporting process as depicted by a triangle, one side will be official sources, another side will be overview sources, and a third side will be unofficial sources.
Okay, get ready.
All three components are necessary in
Get
every
ready.
well-reported piece. The first side has official sources. Those are the people with titles and expertise who own the company, are spokespeople for the movement. They tell you the numbers and the answers to how much, how many, where, when, and who. A second side of the triangle includes overview sources, academics, consultants, authors, who are not directly connected as stakeholders but have knowledge of the big picture. Yet it is the third side of the trifecta, unofficial sources, who hold the power of the individual's insight. This is where you can find the why, giving consequence on the event, trend, phase, or idea, and what it means on a soul level to someone affected by it. So how do you mine for the gems, identifying what is compelling from what is chatter? You ask surprising questions. To achieve the complicated, fragile human connection, you regard the stories of every subject as sacred. Realize that an anecdote is oxygen that breathes life into a gray story of exposition, facts, and data. What the surgeon did at home the morning he operated on a woman's brain tumor. How it feels to dream and train for the Olympics for a lifetime. There are times when it is important to convey information quickly, to present bulleted facts and updates, when a situation is urgent, when action is required now, when you need to know where the tornado will hit, how fast the fire is spreading, and if it will reach your home today. But the narrative personal stories that contribute to the buffet of journalism are pieces that have the luxury of a slow dance of information. It is this artful solicitation of story that will make the journalism memorable and will deliver the narrative bond that will connect us to each other.
Dead Ed. Okay. Excellent. So now, if you turn to the next page, which is page 3, you're going to see some examples of official sources, overview sources, and unofficial sources. It's important to distinguish between these three because, let's see if we can pull it up again. Let's see. There we go. There. So official sources, overview sources, and unofficial sources. It's important to distinguish between these three because you will see that they're made up of different members. So when you look at official sources, think very official. Think people who are funding the research. So governmental bodies, higher ups in companies, whole companies, boards of directors, members of Congress, hospital boards, public institutions, government agencies like the census, colleges, universities. Then, if you look at overview sources, you'll think of professors, news reporters, credible sources, people who could write and publish books, but who are not being directly funded by the issues that they're seeking out. Whereas unofficial sources, like critics, they could be funded either way, but it's their holistic opinion. So the thing with unofficial sources is that it's opinion-based and not scholarship-based, meaning not academically sound or for the good of news. It's more opinion. Personal opinion is unofficial. Overview is giving you more of that direct factual information. Official is giving you kind of the ultimate information. Okay. And so, if we're looking at unofficial sources, critics, hosts of political talk shows, everyday people, eyewitnesses of events, and people who react to events, all of those add together to make unofficial sources. So once we looked up Alanya, what kind of source did she become? She was a published author, right? And what would that make her? What type of source is Oprah, Tika Sumpter, and Lupita Nyong'o? Now Miss Odell will cue up a video of Lupita Nyong'o.